Yo, what's up guys? Today we are reacting to this video. Elon Musk tells Tucker the potential dangers of hyper-intelligent AI. Guys, AI is becoming quite a concern in many areas. I myself, as an English teacher, I'm not worried about that because I know when a student is cheating because, hey, he's not speaking English and then suddenly he is. That's easy to detect. But other teachers would be very, very annoyed if they found out that their students were using Chat GPT. Have you guys used it? It's good for work and stuff, but hey, don't cheat on your test or your essays or whatever your assignments. Anyways, I don't think that's what Elon Musk is worried about. Let's see what he says.
So all of a sudden AI is everywhere. People who weren't quite sure what it was are playing with it on their phones. Is that good or bad?
Yeah, so I've been thinking about AI for a long time, since I was in college, really. It was one of the things that, the sort of 4 or 5 things I thought would really affect the future dramatically. It is fundamentally profound in that the smartest creatures, as far as we know, on this earth are humans, is our defining character.
As far as we know. Oh, Elon, how many alien friends did you bring along with you?
Characteristic.
Yes.
We're obviously weaker than, say, chimpanzees and less agile, but we are smarter. So now what happens when something vastly smarter than the smartest person comes along in silicon form?
Extinction!
It's very difficult to predict what will happen in that circumstance. It's
Extinction!
called the singularity. It's a singularity like a black hole, because you don't know what happens after that. It's hard to predict. So I think we should be cautious with AI, and I think there should be some government oversight, because it affects it's a danger to the public. And so when you
100%.
have things that are a danger to the public, like let's say, so food and drugs. That's why we have the Food and Drug Administration, right, and the Federal Aviation Administration, the FCC. We have these agencies to oversee things that affect the public, where there could be public harm, and you don't want companies cutting corners on safety.
And from what I've seen, they're very they allow a lot of things. I'm not even going to get into that, but I saw another video which was talking about the things that they allow in food, and I was like, yo, but still.
And then having people suffer as a result. So that's why I've actually for a long time been a strong advocate of AI regulation. So that I think regulation is, it's not fun to be regulated. It's somewhat arduous to be regulated. I have a lot of experience with regulated industries because obviously automotive is highly regulated. You could fill this room with all the regulations that are required for a production car just in the United States, and then there's a whole different set of regulations in Europe and China and the rest of the world.
Wow,
so,
and who reads all of this?
Very familiar with being overseen by a lot of regulators. And the same thing is true with rockets. You can't just willy-nilly, shoot rockets off, not big ones anyway, because the FAA oversees that. And then even to get a launch license, there are probably half a dozen or more federal agencies that need to approve it.
Yeah, the thing about AI is that it's already getting out of hand, already getting out of control. There's a lot of cases of stolen identity and fraud and a lot of those things, and that could potentially be much more harmful when like deep fakes become 100% unrecognizable. Is that the word I'm looking for? But once you find a deep fake that is 100% realistic, that's the end of your safety. That's the end of everything. because people can make videos of you saying stuff that you didn't, and how can you prove otherwise, right? It's a hard thing to think of.
Plus state agencies. So I've been through so many regulatory situations. It's insane. And sometimes people think I'm some sort of like regulatory maverick that sort of defies regulators on a regular basis, but this is actually not the case. Once in a blue moon, rarely I will disagree with regulators, but the vast majority of the time, my companies agree with the regulations and comply.
And they're actually there to remind you, and they're quite helpful, I think.
Anyway, so I think we should take this seriously, and we should have a regulatory agency. I think it needs to start with a group that initially seeks insight into AI, then solicits opinion from industry, and then has proposed rulemaking, and then those rules, will probably, hopefully, grudgingly be accepted by the major players in AI, and I think we'll have a better chance of advanced AI being beneficial to humanity in that circumstance.
Yeah, of course. What we want is AI to be helpful, but we don't want it to be used for the bad, for the evil. What are your thoughts? Excuse me. What are your thoughts on this?
But all regulations start with a perceived danger, and planes fall out of the sky, or food causes botulism.
Yes.
I don't think the average person playing with AI on his iPhone perceives any danger. Can you just roughly explain what you think the dangers might be?
Yeah, so the danger, really, AI is perhaps more dangerous than, say, mismanaged aircraft design or production maintenance or bad car production, in the sense that it has the potential, however small one may regard that probability, but it is non-trivial. It has the potential of civilizational destruction. There's movies like Terminator, but it wouldn't quite happen like Terminator, because the intelligence would be in the data centers.
Right.
The robot's just the end effector. But I think perhaps what you may be alluding to here is that regulations are really only put into effect after something terrible has happened.
That's correct.
If that's the case for AI, and we only put in regulations after something terrible has happened, it may be too late to actually put the regulations in place. The AI may be in control at that point.
You think that's real? It is conceivable that AI could take control and reach a point where you couldn't turn it off, and it would be making...
I mean, come on. AI could, like everything you ask AI to do nowadays, especially ChatGPT, like coding, and, it can potentially learn how to hack and create blockchains or whatever, and you can never locate, or like there's no off button, because the world today is controlled by the internet, right? It's all connected. So if AI is connected to the internet and it does become self-efficient, and it decides, what, I'm gonna drop this plane, it may as well do that, or control this electric car. I don't know. That's my idea. Let's see what Elon Musk says.
Making the decisions for people.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
No, that's definitely where things are headed.
I mean, they can turn off all the traffic lights. They can turn off everything that is electric. Everything that is connected to Wi-Fi, your phones, everything. They can potentially even turn off hospital equipment. That's insane.
For sure. I mean, the things like say ChatGPT, which is based on GPT-4 from OpenAI, which is a company that I played a critical role in creating.
Really?
Back when it was a nonprofit.
Yeah.
Did he say unfortunately?
In creating, unfortunately.
Back when it was a nonprofit.
Yes.
Why does he not like ChatGPT?
The reason OpenAI exists at all is that Larry Page and I used to be close friends, and I would
Yes.
stay at his house in Palo Alto, and I would talk to him late into the night about AI safety. And at least my perception was that Larry was not taking AI safety seriously enough.
What did he say about it?
He really seemed to be
He's the villain?
one sort of digital superintelligence, basically digital God, if you will, as soon as possible.
He wanted that?
Yes. He's made many public statements over the years that the whole goal of Google is what's called AGI, artificial general intelligence, or artificial superintelligence. And I agree with him that there's great potential for good, but there's also potential for bad. And so if you've got some radical new technology, you want to try to take the set of actions that maximize the probability it will do good and minimize the probability it will do bad things.
Yes.
It can't just be hell for leather. Let's just go, barreling forward and, hope for the best.
You know what's funny? Larry Page has been, according to Elon Musk, thinking of this for a long time, but I think Microsoft was the first to use the Chat GPT on its browser Bing, and then Google came and used their version of it. You'd think that Google would be the first one to market, but hey, I think they dropped the ball on that one, or maybe it wasn't ready, and Bing kind of pushed them to do their own.
And then at one point, I said, well, what about, we're going to make sure humanity's okay here.
Okay.
And then he called me a speciesist.
Did he use that term?
Yes. And there were witnesses. I wasn't the only one there when he called me a speciesist. And so I was like, okay, that's it. Yes, I'm a speciesist. Okay. You got me. What are you? Yeah, I'm fully a speciesist. Busted.
But
So
if you think about it, that makes no sense unless both of them are aliens having a conversation.
that was the last straw. At the time, Google had acquired DeepMind, and so Google and DeepMind together had about 3/4 of all the AI talent in the world. They obviously had a tremendous amount of money and more computers than anyone else. So I'm like, okay, we have a unipolar world here, where there's just one company that has close to a monopoly on AI talent and computers, like scaled computing. And the person who's in charge doesn't seem to care about safety. This is not good. So then I thought, what's the furthest thing from Google would be like a nonprofit that is fully open, because Google was closed for profit. So that's why the open in OpenAI refers to open source, transparency, so people know what's going on.
Yes.
And that we don't want to have like while I'm normally in favor of for-profit, we don't want this to be sort of a profit-maximizing demon from hell.
That's right.
That just never stops.
Right.
But then again, if you put AI in open source, can't like anyone just go there and use it for evil?
So that's how OpenAI would.
So you want speciesist incentives here, incentives that
Yes, I think we want pro-human.
Yeah.
This makes the future good for the humans.
Okay.
Yes, because we're humans.
So can you just?
It's funny how Elon Musk always has to reassure us that he's human, right? I've seen him say that many times.
This makes the future good for the humans.
Yes.
Yes, because we're humans.
So can you just?
Sus. Not only him, but Mark Zuckerberg. He said, "If I was a human." Was it him? I think that he said something like that.
Just put it.
And then said, "I am human."
Just for people who haven't thought this through and aren't familiar with it, and the cool parts of artificial intelligence are so obvious. Write your college paper for you. Write a limerick about yourself.
Yeah.
There's a lot there that's fun and useful. But can you be more precise about what's potentially dangerous and scary? What could it do? What specifically are you worried about?
Going with old sayings, the pen is mightier than the sword. If you have a super intelligent AI that is capable of writing incredibly well and in a way that is very influential, convincing, and then and is constantly figuring out what is more convincing to people over time, and then enters social media, for example, Twitter, but also Facebook and others, and potentially manipulates public opinion in a way that is very bad.
Yeah, maybe not only that, but if it gets out of hand, it can potentially launch nuclear weapons. I don't know, maybe. But what he's saying is very interesting, because you could potentially train OpenAI, Chat GPT, to kind of like create a discourse. Like the AI could study a dictator and all the patterns and everything that has been, used as manipulation throughout the years, and then train it to create a campaign or create at least like an online presence with those tactics to manipulate people. Basically, that could happen using all the successful psychological tactics and strategies out there.
How would we even know?
How do we even know? So, to sum up, in the words of Elon Musk, for all human history, human beings have been the smartest beings on the planet. Now, human beings have created something that is far smarter than they are. And the consequences of that are impossible to predict. And the people who created it don't care. In fact, as he put it, Google founder Larry Page, a former friend of his, is looking to build a, quote, digital god, and believes that anybody who's worried about that is a speciesist. In other words, is looking out for human beings first. Elon Musk responded, as a human being, it's okay to look out for human beings first. And then at the end, he said the real problem with AI is not simply that it will jump the boundaries and become autonomous and you can't turn it off. In the short term, the problem with AI is that it might control your brain through words. And this is the application that we need to worry about now, particularly going into the next presidential election. The Democratic Party, as usual, was ahead of the curve on this. They've been thinking about how to harness AI for political power. More on that next.
Okay, wow.
Subscribe.
Yeah, so here's the thing. I've seen AI being used in many things. It's been used in medical institutions to try to diagnose a few things, which is a good thing, I guess. It's been used in a courtroom for the lawyer and the judge to make a decision, or the lawyer to find something that they could use. So these are things that have changed the whole professional field, and it's interesting to see where this goes. Scared of it? I'm not really scared of it. I'm just concerned about the potential harm of deep fakes and fraud and stealing identities and stuff like that, because we live in a cancel culture right now where anything that you are accused of, you really can't prove otherwise, because people are already on your back and they don't want to hear anything else. They just believe what they saw, and we're at the era of fake news as well. So you combine fake news with AI, that because the thing is, once you have proof, people will accuse you. Like, paparazzis exist to try and get the best pictures of a celebrity, right? When you have AI that designs a photo for you and it may potentially look 100% real, then why even bother going out, right? That's paparazzis on steroids. And if there is no regulation, or if there are no regulations, then these media companies can make at least a huge profit in the beginning, until someone gets hurt, harmed. And obviously we've already seen fake pictures, fake videos coming out in elections, but you can tell that it's fake. But what happens when it's impossible to to see the difference between AI generated image and a real photo that was taken. We're not there yet, but the future, we never know what the future holds for us, and things are happening really fast. Guys, thank you for watching. Let me know if you enjoy these type of reactions, and let me know what I should react to in the comments down below. Take care for now. Bye bye. See you soon.